Wow, so did anyone witness that video that I did? It was about an hour ago, and right when I started disclosing some names, it literally like stopped, and then I got a message, this video can't be posted or something like that. And, it sounds crazy, I know. I would think it sounds crazy too, but since it's been going on for years now, I think I have enough proof that I'm being targeted. Like, how in our faces can it get? I mean, I'm literally name dropping, like, right, for the first time I'm giving names that I was threatened to be killed if I ever disclosed. And I was like, okay, what do I have to lose at this point? I mean, I've lost my entire life for blowing the whistle in Texas and going on radio and, exposing Harris County corruption and CPS crimes. And right when I was about to give some really juicy information about the stuff I've never talked about, it like vanished. So all I can say is welcome to my world of being targeted, and it is real and it is a fact, and there's nothing delusional about it. There's many of us. Some people I've talked to have been living in hiding for years. I tried it. It was awfully lonely. So I came back to life, and I was literally like, I'm talking no social media. No one knew my name, and I truly did it. That was after Senator Nancy Schaefer, obviously, well, we know what happened to her. And that was after she had warned me how corrupt CPS was. And I took some advice and went missing for quite some time, like years. And I was tricked into coming back into Houston for some justice that never happened. And it's just been one thing after another. So here's what I will quickly try to tell you before they cut me off again. So I was trying to explain some slanderous hate that's going on, and I was backing it up with evidence to prove that there's two journalists out there that have made their life to destroy me. But the funny thing is that many of you have seen my evidence even before it was stolen. So there's no way they're going to get away with it, because I have at least, I would say, with no exaggeration, 500 witnesses that have seen the things that they're saying, seen evidence that they're lying. One of the biggest, let me go through real quick. Let me go through maybe 10 myths and, slanderous statements, and I'll tell you how it's backed up with evidence. Okay, number one, when my daughter was taken, I had no criminal record and did not have a history of going in and out of mental institutions. Complete fabrication. Do you think if that was true, it wouldn't be all over social media, like every hospital I'd been committed to and all that? It's all lies. There is one time, remember, my daughter got taken. I had her late in life. So we're talking, I'm already in my 40s, okay? Yes, I'm that old. And I had never been to jail. I had never been arrested. I had never had problems with cops. I had always lived in really nice houses and apartments and a condo, etc. And I went from living the good life to not giving up and going literally homeless. Now here's all the fabrication going on. One time when I was misdiagnosed, told I had lupus, and actually had Lyme's disease, and was on very dangerous medicine, I ended up in a hospital where I was under psychiatric care. Now, this is before they took my daughter. One time, now remember, they took her when I was 42. Does that really sound like a case that deserved to have your daughter taken? Now, they want you to believe I'm crazy, and CPS lied like unbelievably under oath that my daughter was taken on claims that I'm nuts. But here's what is so amazing about my story. I had Lyme's disease for, my God, we know at least probably 15 years. Lyme's disease causes severe insomnia. It causes mental changes. It causes mood swings, everything else. So CPS did have a little bit on me on medical reasons. And I say medical reasons. I had been to Johns Hopkins. I had been to all the best doctors. Is it my fault I was misdiagnosed and given the wrong medication? So after many years of high dosages of prednisone and steroids, I started definitely losing my mind, because on 60 milligrams or whatever of prednisone, I couldn't sleep for like 8 days. I ended up, yes, one time in a hospital in my whole life before they took my daughter, and they called it steroid psychosis. Now, these evil journalists have posted the most horrific things like I'm schizophrenic, my daughter was taken because I have a history of being in and out of mental institutions. Total baloney. My high school friend came up to the hospital and said, do y'all understand I've known her since she was 12 or 13 years old? Whatever. And I know that her personality changed after being overly medicated on steroids. Now, the truth is, my wonderful so-called mother knew that I had been on dangerous levels of prednisone and used it to every advantage to take me down and take my only daughter, who she hasn't let me see once, has not let me see once in 9 years. Even though she knows I was a victim of horrific symptoms of Lyme disease and have 2 rare disorders, one called eosinophilic fasciitis syndrome and one called pressure-induced urticaria. Both very bizarre, both very painful. So now let's take the lady's child, because she's had horrible, horrible luck with her health, but still managed to graduate top of her class from University of Texas on the National Dean's List. That my mother has a copy of me in the beautiful little red book with the gold paper trimming and all that. But she won't show anyone, of course, that, because she's going to let these evil journalists say that I actually am having a delusion on so many things. So here, let me back up. So these are things my mother knows are true and doesn't defend me and is going to continue to say it's a delusion. I did graduate top of my class, an American Studies major. She has proof. She has absolute proof, but won't defend me. She knows these journalists are saying that I'm imagining it. And they said in the courtroom that I imagined it as well, therefore delusional. My mom didn't correct it. They also said that I was having a delusion, that I had proof of arsenic poisoning and cadmium and high levels of mercury poisoning, and they used the excuse that the last name was not my last name on the report when it was my married last name, my ex-husband. So I'm like, again, my mother not correcting it. They said that I was diagnosed with all this stuff, and I can't even remember all the names, but my mother knew it wasn't true. She knew it was a complete setup and did nothing. She's actually told me over and over that she knows the whole thing was wrong, but she's done nothing about it. Now, I had a doctor for almost 10 years, Dr. Marjorie Deutsch. She was my doctor for many years when I didn't know I had Lyme disease and was having marital problems because I married a man, a brilliant man who got a PhD in biochemistry and became a patent lawyer. And I'm not going to give his name, even though the journalists are blasting him as well. He is a very good man. I did not date bad men. The only one that may be a little questionable was Stephen Steele, who went missing, which I was told on purpose because he was too cowardly to tell the truth after being targeted for too long. Lie after lie. I'm not married to Stephen Steele. These evil journalists, 2 of them that won't leave me alone, posted that I'm the Black Widow, basically, and that I've had multiple husbands and all this stuff. It's a total lie. Total lie. I was never married to Stephen Steele. He's been missing, what, a year and a half? There's no activity on his Facebook. Feel free to look, my friends. Look up Stephen Steele. You'll see our picture still together. Does it say married? Did it ever say that we were married? So apparently either hackers or I maybe upset, freaked out, scared, might have said husband, maybe once that I was around him 2 years. But that certainly doesn't make him my husband. Now, we filed for emergency help the day before he got helped. We did not file as a married couple. And of course this can be proven. Once again, corruption, after corruption, because I've contacted the mayor's office and many offices that know the truth that Steve and I never presented ourselves as a married couple, even as many times as we went to the DA's office and did sworn affidavits with victim assistance with Attorney General Ken Paxton's office. All right? There'll be no documentation that we ever filed as a married couple. A matter of fact, when he went missing, I was given a hard time about us not being legally married and about me making such a fuss of it. Oh, yes. All right, let me clear some other things. Then they're insinuating that I'm a dog killer. All right. My dog, that maybe many of you remember, the cute little dog that I had, after many death threats, many threats that she was going to be poisoned and killed, I made a decision in fear of my life with the agreement that someone was supposed to get my dog. I went missing at that point almost, 4.5 years. My dog was supposed to be adopted. Apparently the person that had the key to my place did not adopt her, but she was put with two, it doesn't matter, but two men who are, well, well, there are two men that, let's just say, really love my dog. And they love each other as well. And I was like, I don't know how my dog, who cares? I am so not a judgmental person. But she went to the hands of two men that had been a couple for quite some time. They contacted my mom and said, we got to find your daughter because she put a chip in this dog and we want the chip taken out and put under our house, our home's name, address. My mother knows this to be true, but she's allowed the state to insinuate that I killed my dog. Can you believe it? Like, hello, what kind of mother would do that? So I'm like, hey, Mom, why don't you tell people the truth that these two men contacted you wanting to know how to get a hold of me, and I talked to them, I signed something giving them consent to put a chip in my dog that they're saying I allegedly killed. Whew, I'm on fire tonight. All right, I could go on and on with the lies, but there is a history of me making police reports against people who have committed crimes against me in Texas, and the police reports go missing. No matter how many times I make them, it's the most surreal, most Twilight Zone nightmare you could imagine. Stephen still witnessed it. Johnny White has witnessed it over and over and over, my friends and supporters. And yes, after our dog was stolen a couple days ago, and we haven't slept in days looking for it, and we don't know if it was retaliation. We don't know what the heck's going on. All we know is the dog is for sure gone. We are putting flyers up with a supporter in the area. She's agreed to, put pictures of our dog all over the place, but it's not looking good. Now, we had reported to the police over and over we feared something bad would happen to us. There's no report of it. So ironically, the day before the dog went missing, who was safely in a gated community, a lieutenant told me, come in and make a new police report, ask for my location, and said, we're going to get to the bottom of why these police reports you made don't exist. I said, welcome to my role. At least 30 have gone missing, including massive theft that involved a lady named Rowena Freeman who goes by Young Flesh. When I say massive, trust me when I say massive. Let me explain. When I say massive, I'm not talking about $50, $300. I'm talking in the, try 200, over 200,000. And then this man, Wilbur Witt, well over 200,000. We believe actually going closer to 300,000. Now, Wilbur Witt has been doing videos claiming that I'm lying, that he didn't have my things, but he doesn't realize that Public Storage does have a video that I've talked to the manager who can confirm that his claims that I only had rags are far from the truth. Actually, the manager of Public Storage, Wood Forest, by the way, if anything, God forbid, happens to me, not Wood Forest, Wood Park Drive, Houston, Texas, Public Storage. If anything happens to me, please make sure that this stuff gets out there. This lady not only witnessed my valuables, but was very concerned that I was going to travel to an alleged FBI contact that was going to get me safe, that Wilbur Witt was involved with this scam. She begged me, actually, to not put all my valuables in this truck and go out of town, but I did it anyway. Now, Wilbur Witt is doing videos that all I had was rags when I actually personally gave her an autographed Elvis Presley picture for being so nice to me the years that I paid storage there, like $200 and something a month. Wilbur Witt got away with major theft. A grandfather clock, inheritance, unbelievable inheritance from my grandmother that I had many witnesses that saw it. Silver, beautiful dishes, rare artwork, my artwork as an artist, all at least 50 paintings of mine. Louis Eichhardt artwork, an original Louis Eichhardt that I got in DC. He got away with all this, but he does a video showing my stuff going in a dumpster truck and claims that all I had was some rags and trash. He admits to one expensive rug that he says he put on his ground or something and then tossed it. Do y'all really believe he would get rid of a Persian rug with silk? Give me a break. He had 2 rugs. And he's trying to tell y'all that he threw them away or whatever, that he didn't see the grandfather clock, that he didn't see my David Yurman jewelry and my Michael Dawkins jewelry, my Gucci and my Prada and my handbags, and he didn't see any of this. Do y'all really believe it? I've challenged him to a lie detector test. He still won't take it, my friends. And if you don't believe me, send him a message and say Amy Sharon wants you to meet her at the police station in Houston, Texas, and she will do a lie detector test. But more disturbingly than really any of this, only because it involves innocent people that maybe might have had something terrible happen to them sexually that I reported to the police and they hid, is that he admitted to me, disturbingly admitted to me, that he had been showering with somebody that I'm not going to get into because I won't be that hateful, as mad as I was. I was so close to exposing everything, but I'll leave it at this. He admitted to being an older, he has to be in his 70s, and he admitted to showering with a young woman. Now, the woman is so, don't get me started. Okay, I won't say, but some of you already know what I'm talking about. It was reported to Colleen as my concerns because he said the girl had been missing and missing for years. I was concerned, especially after he just stole all my things and now he has a alleged missing, And so they covered that up. They didn't realize I have the emails proving, though, that I contacted the police department numerous times and they said word for word, we Googled you and we don't want any part of this. Oh, okay. So, not only do I know this man is a thief beyond belief, he stole my once well-known songwriter dad's music. He stole uncopyrighted music. Mark Sharon, my father, who wrote all the early hit songs for B.J. Thomas. But here's the thing. Okay, he stole everything to my name, y'all. Everything to my name. All my clothes, all my jewelry, all my toiletries. I'm only making, I'm being a little sarcastic here, but imagine going to court and winning a case against a police officer, getting out, and you can't get your stuff back. Now, I believe the whole thing was a setup. Remember, he had me go to his house. He had 2 homes. He had me unload all my stuff in a second home where he allegedly, where he told Stephen Steele and I, who's now missing, so hope you can follow how crazy my story is. He tells us that we can live in that home temporarily till the FBI, who is a good friend of his, some agent was going to come and put us on an army base for protection. I know, what was I thinking? I concur. But, when you're desperate, you do desperate measures to get safe. Next thing I know, I go to court, I win a case against an officer, I beg him to give me my stuff back, he's lying and saying they're rags, and he says they all burned down in a fire, and I'm like, but wait a minute, it was put in another home, not even the home you're living in, but you talked me into carrying stuff over to the home you live in, but how did a fire burn down 2 different houses at the same time? You gotta have something, sir. He's still arguing that he has nothing, but he just threw away rags and that I'm lying. Again, let me make it clear. I will do a lie detector test, my friends, and I dare you to message Wilbur Witt Jr., who goes by Bill the Butcher. Does that even sound credible? Bill the Butcher claims that I am psychotic, that I'm delusional, that I am schizophrenic. Never, I swear my life, been diagnosed with schizophrenia or even imagining things. The only people that said that was CPS and their paid little wormy doctors, but my independent doctors will never, ever agree with that. Actually, the only doctor I've had consistently in my life was Dr. Deutsch, who canceled me during a very difficult marriage where I didn't know I had Lyme disease and was becoming bedridden and ended up in a wheelchair. No joke. I was actually wheeling myself through the mall and things because my ex-husband didn't know what to do with me because I was losing my muscle control and I didn't have any strength. And I was confused on, what was wrong with me. Misdiagnosed, told I had lupus. My God, I could go on and on. So I had a real doctor, not a CPS fake one that gets money to lie under oath. And they wouldn't let her testify. They wouldn't let her do anything, but yet she even wrote letters in my defense. But these people are still slamming me, my friends, and saying that I'm truly psychotic and dangerous. They've actually, Wilbur's done a video warning Johnny White to get away from me. And Johnny just said, I can't take this. I cannot take this. Like, I love you, but every day, stalking, harassment, theft. He's already been robbed multiple times, manhandled multiple times, beat up, you name it, broken hand. And I'm like, Johnny, it might be time for you to go because it's not safe. Welcome to my world. I'm caught up in a huge scandal at Texas, good old boy, system lawless, who's doing everything they can to cover up the truth. Why is Wilbur not in prison? Because the police confirmed the report has been erased. They don't have it. I've made it multiple times. I would say, more than multiple times. I have witnesses, and he doesn't exist, but he's like, ha ha ha, if I'm guilty, why have the police not come for me? Because you're lucky they're that corrupt. Now, the lieutenant said this is a big mistake. Come back. Let's make the report against Wilbur. Now, by now he's gotten rid of all my valuables, so there's no hope with that. But I got Public Storage that is willing to talk to the police that knows I hardly had rags. Actually, working in the malling business for, 15 years, talent agent, makeup artist for Christian Dior National. Do you really believe all I had was rags? Living a quite hoity-toity lifestyle, had, fundraisers at my house for politicians, and you really believe, Wilbur Witt, that all I had was rags? Do I really look like a woman that went to someone's house with a few rags and paid $200 something a month for years on a storage unit? Do you really believe that? You think that can't be proven, my friends? Whoo, I'm on fire. All right, so I'm taking the beatings because, I'll put my big girl pants on and take the beatings, but what I won't take is people messing with my dog and my significant other who, has been through so much in a matter of 7 months of being with me. And a matter of fact, he's been a pretty good sport. Is he perfect? Hell no. Am I perfect? Really? But I keep it real, and we've survived against all odds. Johnny has, a very mysterious past. Grew up in an orphanage, refused to get, stubborn. I won't let anybody adopt me. And then he's like, well, now I don't have any family. Well, hello, because you didn't let anyone adopt you. So he had a horrific childhood. His father, stepdad, beat him so badly. CPS, or the school, put him in an orphanage, CPS, I guess. And the stepdad ran. He never met his real dad. And the stepdad ran. He still never found him. No one ever found him. And that's where the last name White comes from. The guy's been through hell. Does he have a perfect background? I don't know. Probably not. Most people in his shoes probably would have ended up like a horrible person. I know that Johnny White has a big heart. But I also know that probably he doesn't have the most perfect past, because after he had his head injury and lost a lot of his memory and had brain surgery, He lost his money. He lost, you know, a once good job. And he's been really bitter about it. And then he gets with me and he's like, hell, it's bad enough that I have brain damage and, you know, have short-term memory. And now I got to deal with these people harassing me every day. I mean, poor guy. Like, he hasn't been through enough. His mother, who he loved, died when he was like 12. And he got stuck with this horrific stepdad. And then, you know, so traumatized, wouldn't let anyone adopt him. Like, you know, only haters would go after a guy like that. But then again, what kind of men go after women, you know, women like us, like total deadbeat, coward losers? Do you agree? I mean, who sits there and bullies people who have been through as much as many of us, countless of us, countless, and Johnny and I, who have publicly gone through hell and proven our hell very, very openly. All right, so this isn't the best quality video. The lighting is horrible. I know. I'm sitting in the dark with some yellow, horrible light on my face. Oh my gosh, this is not, I promise I'm not this pale. Although I haven't slept for days because we actually walked 10 miles or more looking for our beloved little German Shepherd. And that dog was given to us because we feared for our safety. And it doesn't surprise me that no one's brought it home or whatever. Who knows? We'll never know the truth. We spent a lot of money on that dog for people that have been as broke as us. And I mean, it's just sad, you know. It had his own little room. It had the best dog food. It had the best little bed, you know. I mean, but, you know, it only shows me how dangerous my life is, and I can't even have a pet. Now, this is the second time. The first time I couldn't have my pet was over threats. I told Johnny we should get rid of the dog because I'm afraid something's going to happen to it. I've been through this before. And sadly, you know, Johnny didn't think they would mess with the dog. And it's probably unrelated, you know, if you really think about it. But do you blame me, knowing my history, that I feel like the dog might have been hurt by now? We had people stalking us. We had people following us where we're at. We had people threatening us. Would someone see that dog out, you know, and want to do something to it? It's possible. It's very possible. All I know is I told Johnny today, we got to get out of Texas. I told him maybe apart just to, you know, let him have some time to regroup and maybe get some medicine for his memory loss. And I believe he has post-traumatic syndrome right now with the aggravated assault we went through a month ago. That was a horrible crime that he endured, and I endured as well. And these evil two journalists, again, have been defending them, trying to write the DA, one of the guys telling her, you know, you shouldn't do anything, they're crazy and all, you know, stuff like that. The DA told me, that's not going to work with us. We go by the facts. So, what are the facts? Oh, okay, so let's talk about just more lies and slander. Johnny and I were victims, as you know, of many crimes, retaliations, harassment. So we got talked in through our church to go to a family who wanted $500 up front, plus food was supposed to be included. We got there, the whole thing was shady. We regret going. This is where these two men came in our room, opened the door, but it was locked, broke in, held weapons, one a knife at me, the other one waving a metal pole all around us. We had to jump up, run off, not dressed, not naked, but not dressed. Yeah, all the neighbors saw. It was pretty embarrassing. They robbed us, took our phones. That's why you just now seen Johnny back on social media. They said over and over they were going to F us up. It took forever for the sheriffs to arrest them. It was shady from day one. I told the sheriff, where's my evidence, where's my phones? He did not look for it. Actually, they were rude to me, but what's new? I asked them to look for the weapons, which will be on body camera. They, for whatever reason, didn't want to look in the woods, so not dressed appropriately, in the rain, in the cold, I went looking all over people's lawns, where I had confirmation that these neighbors had been reported for hiding illegal immigrants. Well, wait till you hear this. I'm hardly an illegal immigrant, right? Nor is Johnny. The truth of what went down was the lady asked for our IDs. When we gave her the ID, she provided it to her son, who looked me up and didn't like the fact that I have a big mouth and that I am an independent journalist. And there's no doubt in my mind that these people retaliated because they were afraid that we were going to narc on them. Here's the truth. The house that was supposed to be a 3 or 4 bedroom was like a 10 bedroom. They had taken all these rooms and put illegals in this home. I told the police that I believe we were being set up. The son was one of the suspects. He broke in the room with another man who had a criminal record, I was told, very shady record. But they both went to court and they both got an extension and like the end of next month or something, and I'm going, hello, we're in danger, but okay. Here is the truth. We were the only English-speaking people in this house. There were people everywhere, and there was a man who hadn't paid rent in 10 months, and there was another man who hadn't paid rent in 4 months. That we and the owner of the house spoke to the police about on what to do. You think it's not on body camera? Within days, we were attacked, okay? You don't think there's a connection? The stupid journalist is like defending them, saying they're the victims and we're not so innocent. Sir, all this can be confirmed on body camera, including the owner of the house, Leda, who confirmed what should she do because no one was paying their rent, but they were illegal, so she didn't want to do a legal eviction. Are you following me? So then we told the police. She's asking us to help her get rid of these illegals, but we don't know what to do because we're afraid they're going to retaliate. No joke. They didn't help. They just suggested we leave, but we're like, we need our money back. Well, what happens? Leda almost has a heart attack. We didn't know she had had a heart attack before we got there, and a stroke and all these things, bad health, diabetes. So what do? The good people we are? We buy her a lot of food and drove her 7 days for healing powers at a church. All Spanish speaking, like we don't have witnesses to this. 7 days in a row we drive her, and it was really hard because I don't speak any Spanish, and I'd sit there for hours every night, but I was like, I feel bad for the lady. Do you really think they're the victims? Stupid Robert Beatty just won't get off my case. He slanders me every day and photoshops my picture and makes me look like I'm 200 pounds and 60 years old, and I can deal with that, but I won't deal with the lies, Robert. You think you know everything. You're disgusting, and you're nothing but a washed-up journalist. Has nothing better to do than to try to get a story out of my horrific story. Get a life. There's the truth. Neighbors told us they had reported this house for collecting rent for years with illegals. You really think they're credible, my friends and supporters? I have neighbors as witnesses that can come to court. Johnny and I were attacked because they were afraid that we were going to go public. They were afraid that we were going to go very public. So they attacked us and made it look like a robbery and held weapons at us. And they're trying to get off right now saying that they're the victims. Not only are they not the victims, but we saved this lady's life twice. Once in the middle of the night, which I can prove. And the other night, by the way, she couldn't drive, so Johnny drove her. So you think we can't prove we took her to the hospital? Literally like 2 days before this assault. The doctor said, y'all saved her life. Literally. Thank God you brought her in. But guess what Johnny did? He drove her with a broken hand from a prior attack on him. You really think we're the bad guys? You think we can't prove this? Robert? You think we can't find out who her doctor was and prove that he said, oh my God, look at your hand, sir. Johnny didn't even know it was broken because he was so caring about Leda, the owner of the house. The woman of the sun who attacked us. Really, Robert Beatty? You better lay off, sir. Just because the police reports against you have vanished doesn't mean that we're not going to redo them as the lieutenant advised us to do. Doesn't mean that the FBI that told me to come in and put it in writing isn't going to do their job. You're going to go down in one way or another, hopefully in jail with Wilbur Witt, your little partner in crime, and Rowena Youngflesh. These people, my friends, Cesar Pena, Jason Delaney, these people who have all committed crimes, they're going to get busted in one way or another. If I have to leave Texas to get justice, I will. But justice will prevail. I'm not going to have these lies. You see, I've been quiet. This attack on us happened like a month ago. I've been pretty quiet about it. But I started thinking about it. I have the right to defend myself. I have the right to clear up this lies and this evil hate. This man put that I possibly, did something horrible to my last dog. Marjorie Deutsch, Dr. Marjorie Deutsch, would personally tell each and every one of you that no one was more loving to animals than me. Even Johnny and I would give our dog our food and go hungry. That's how we are. We are not people that would hurt an animal, nor would we ever hurt any human beings or bully people like these two men think they can do. The truth is going to come out. And these people who could have killed us because they were worried that we were going to tell on a house full of illegals. Do you know they had a garage like with 2 illegals in it or something? And then I showed the police. And would you believe they said, oh, we can't do anything about it. We'll look for the weapon. Oh, it's not that important. Something like that. I said, yeah, it is. Fingerprints on weapons and everything. They wouldn't look. They walked us through the house once. Didn't look that hard, didn't look through drawers, didn't look through the backyard, didn't look at their garage apartment with an illegal hiding in it. And literally now we're the bad guys. It's a joke. It's a joke. But I'll tell you what, the neighbor who was very upset about the crime said, I've already reported them, but welcome to Texas. Nothing happens. It doesn't matter. And believe me, I have a heart for illegals. I have very, very people that are very dear to my heart that are illegals, that have helped me in hard situations. But when they're doing things like this, not paying rent, working illegally, and then trying to set people up for things that they didn't do, well, that's where I draw the line. So let me refresh your memory here. So illegals now have more rights than Johnny and I. That's what it sounds like. They have no more credibility because the sheriffs didn't want to do anything about all the secret rooms we showed them. Can you believe it? First of all, it's against the law to even, against home association rules in this area to even convert a bunch of rooms, closets, you take utility room into rooms for illegal aliens, and they're the ones that have credibility. Do you see how targeted I am? Do you see how blacklisted I am? Welcome to my world. The police said they didn't want to do anything about it, and I assure you it's on body camera. They didn't look for those weapons hardly at all. Only one officer did a maybe, I'd say 3-minute check. I was too cold, I was too embarrassed, not dressed, so I didn't look very closely at everything, but I guarantee you those weapons were out there. And ask yourself why 6 sheriffs didn't look for them. Ask yourself. Oh yeah, now there might not be a case because there's no fingerprints. How convenient. I'm going to end it up with that because now I'm getting really, really ticked off. All right, thank you for your support. There's the truth. And for once and for all, I'm going to start clearing up all the lies. Thank you. Amy Sharon, and here in dreaded Texas, hoping to get out of here. Could use some help getting Johnny and I out. Whether we stay together or not, I would never abandon him. He's been through hell. He's kept me protected. But I will make sure, whether we stay together or not, that he is safe. And we want the heck out of here, preferably California. All right. Thank you. I love y'all. My heart goes out to every one of you that have been targeted, that are dealing with injustices like I have, CPS injustices. But I tell you what, God didn't choose me for who I was, but for who I'm supposed to become. And I believe I'll have a way to help each and every one of you, especially if this movie deal that I've been promised gets done about my story. All right? All right. Bye-bye. And remember, this too shall pass. And God is the final judge. All right. Bye.